The movie begins telling us how the Knights Templar have searched for a relic, called the Apple of Eden for centuries, which has the power to control free will, but only the Brotherhood of Assassins stand in their way. In 1492 Spain, Aguilar de Nura was welcomed into the Brotherhood of Assassins, charged with the duty of fighting against the Knights and making it his life's duty to stop them from getting the apple. To confirm his allegiance, Aguilar's ring finger is severed following custom, and he is given assassin gauntlets by fellow assassin Maria. Aguilar then recites the Assassin's Creed: "We work in the dark to serve the light, we are assassins." In the 20th century, we meet young Callum Lynch, who tries but fails to make a huge jump with his bike. Callum heads back home and calls for his mother, but is shocked to see her lifeless body sitting around the table. In the corner, Callum's father is dressed as an assassin holding the blade that killed his mother. His father tells him his blood is not his own, just as a convoy of vehicles are approaching the house. Joseph tells Callum to run just as the modern-day Templars pull up to the house to capture him. Callum, terrified and confused, follows Joseph's instructions and runs away. In the present day, an adult Callum is being kept in solitary confinement awaiting execution after being convicted of murder. The priest comes by to get his confession and to read him scriptures, but Callum seems indifferent to things and just wants to get things over with. He is soon brought to the execution chamber and prepared, with his final words being that he'll see his father in hell. As he is strapped down on the table, the lethal fluids begin to flow into his veins, and he sees a woman staring back at him before the poison takes effect. Callum sees his entire life flash before his eyes, but to his surprise, he wakes up in an all-white room with the same strange woman staring back at him. She introduces herself as Dr. Sophia Riken, explaining to Callum that to the rest of the world he is considered dead. She adds that Callum is there to help her, but a confused Callum drags himself from the room, and staggers into a larger space where other people dressed like him are held. Callum begins to run wildly until he reaches a room with trees and grass and a few people who stare at him silently. He looks through a window to realize that he is being held inside a massive building. Another man, Mosa, urges Callum to jump, but Sophia stops him, telling him that he is not a prisoner and that everything will make sense soon. She tells him that he is in the Abstergo Foundation building, a company looking for a way to bring peace. Callum approaches her but is quickly knocked out by the head of security, all while Sophia's father Alan Riken observes remotely. They bring Callum to the Animus, a massive mechanical arm mounted on the ceiling, and strap assassin blade onto his arms. The Animus activates and is attached to Callum's waist, then a needle is injected into his brain painfully. Sophia tells Callum that what he will soon feel and see are the memories of his ancestor Aguilar, who has been dead for over 500 years. Callum is hoisted into the air and large mirrors begin to create an illusion, pulling Callum into a hypnosis. He begins to hear and see apparitions of people, then Callum is pulled fully into a trance and wakes up in the body of Aguilar, standing on a cliff with his fellow assassins planning to rescue the son of the Sultan Muhammad, Prince Ahmed. The boy has been found by the Templars hiding in a barn, and one Templar, Ojeda, demands to know from the villagers who was hiding the boy. One man steps forward and Ojeda orders that his entire family be hanged while he watches. The Templars drag the boy back to a prison carriage and the Templars' commander declares that the entire town will be punished, unaware that the assassins are closing in around them silently. Aguilar kills the commander and the other assassins begin taking out the guards, except for Ojeda, who manages to kill his attacker. Aguilar launches himself at the men, while Maria takes out a guard and takes control of the carriage carrying the prince. Ojeda sees her and takes off after her along with a few of his men, and Aguilar follows up by jumping on a horse to chase after them. Maria is trying her best to stay ahead of Ojeda, and when two of his men manage to board her carriage, she skillfully takes them out before taking control and racing on. Aguilar is gaining on them very fast and jumps from his horse onto Ojeda's carriage. Ojeda puts his horse on autopilot and attacks Aguilar, but the carriage hits a rock sending them flying. Aguilar lands onto Maria's carriage and kills a Templar about to attack her. Maria is unable to get control of the carriage as it nears a cliff, and Aguilar barely manages to grab the prince and escape, just as Sophia pulls Callum from the Animus. As he lays there unresponsive, he sees a vision of Aguilar walking towards him. Sophia goes to speak with her father about their great chance of retrieving the apple, now that they have Callum working for them. Alan questions her decision to pull Callum from the Animus and wants her to push him, but Sophia wants to keep Callum healthy and earn his trust. Alan is looking forward to finding the apple, and seeing his daughter's name written down in the Templar history books along with the other greats. Alan goes to meet with the senior member of the Templar elders, Ellen, who reveals to Alan that his $3 billion budget will be used elsewhere, meaning that he would be shut down. She declares that there is no need for the apple as people are already easy to control, but Alan reveals that Sophia has tracked down the protectors of the apple in the form of his descendant Callum. Callum wakes up with a massive headache when he sees another vision of Aguilar, this time about to attack him before disappearing. Sophia notices him on the cameras and comes in telling him that the visions are called the bleeding effect, a memory overlapping reality. Callum grabs Sophia by the neck, but she calmly explains that the Animus is a machine that manipulates genetic memory, allowing persons to see the past. Sophia urges Callum to cooperate instead of fighting, and he will learn a lot more. Sophia leads him to a room to reveal that she has been researching everything on Callum down to the mutation in his gene. They first found Aguilar, and when Callum was arrested, they were able to match the DNA then. She further adds that Aguilar's parents were killed by Ojeda when he was younger and he became an assassin to get his revenge. She tells Callum about the apple and that Aguilar was the last person to have it and they need Callum to find out where he hid it. She brings Callum to the dining hall, promising him that once he helps them retrieve the apple, then he will be given a new life. Callum enters the mess hall where the other patients observe him keenly. Mosa again approaches Callum, introducing himself as the descendant of a Haitian assassin. He tells Callum that Aguilar was the last person to protect the apple and warns Callum to make the right choice. Callum thinks Mosa is crazy but sees another vision of Aguilar staring at him. Alan meets with Sophia, demanding that Callum be put back into the Animus immediately and threatens to replace her if she doesn't. Callum is again alone in his room when Aguilar appears to him. The two suddenly begin to shadow fight, with Callum surprised at his newly found skills. The attendants come in to restrain him, but Callum manages to fight them off long enough before he is dragged out and towards the Animus. The other assassins hear the Animus activating and plan to stop Callum before he betrays them. Callum is thrown back into the Animus, and wakes up as Aguilar, who is trapped in a dungeon along with Maria and their leader Benedicto awaiting execution. The three are dragged out before a massive crowd and tied to a post and soaked in gasoline. Ojeda steps forward, telling Aguilar that he will watch his mentor burn first. Aguilar manages to release the chains around his feet and free himself just as Benedicto is set on fire. He frees Maria's feet, then begins to kill the guards rushing the platform. The two cause a massive explosion and escape to the roof of the building, with Ojeda and his men giving pursuit. The two assassins fight their way along the rooftops, taking massive leaps from roof to roof to escape the arrows being fired at them. The Templars manage to corner them, but the two assassins are too fast and easily kill the men before running off. Ojeda is right on their trail and he and Callum stare each other down before they continue their chase. Ojeda rides his horse to the rooftops, and as the two assassins are running along clothes wires, he manages to cut one, causing the two assassins to crash into a building. Ojeda finally is able to tackle Aguilar, but the man is too fast and evades Ojeda, and manages to escape with Maria to the top of a steeple. Aguilar launches himself from the steeple, but Callum desinks from the Animus and suffers a seizure. Sophia calms him down and gets the medics to attend to him. Afterwards, Callum is unable to walk and doubts that he can continue, but Sophia reminds him that they are depending on him for world peace. She gives him his mother's necklace, stating that her father recovered it from the scene of his mother's crime, but Callum is suspicious of why Alan was at the scene, though Sophia deflects, saying that he was there to save her. Later, Alan himself goes to meet with Callum with a very direct approach. He tells Callum that they want him to find the apple for them and offer a deal. Sophia is meeting with Mosa when she sees Alan and Callum on cameras and leaves Mosa there staring at his weapons locked away nearby. Alan brings Callum to a room filled with people who seem brain dead. Alan shows Callum his father's blade, then reveals that he is being held there also. Alan leaves and Callum picks up the blade, only to see his father standing in front of him. Meanwhile, Alan returns to his office where Sophia scolds him for trying to push Callum too far, but Alan wants him to confront his past and play on his hatred of his father in order for Callum to enter the Animus willingly. Callum finally stands before his father after all these years with anger in his eyes. Joseph tells him that his blood belongs to the Creed, something his mother knew and sacrificed her life for. Callum holds his dad at knife point, but Joseph calmly tells him that his mother chose death rather than to be used by the Animus, and if he knew better back then, he would have ended Callum as well, but he couldn't do it. Joseph warns that he is playing right into the hands of the Templar, and if he finds the apple it will destroy everything. Filled with anger, Callum promises to find the apple and put an end to the Creed for what he has done. Callum then gives him his mother's necklace and leaves the knife behind. As Callum is being taken back to his room, he is suddenly attacked by one of the assassin descendants but manages to hold the man off until the guards drag him away. Callum willingly returns to the Animus and dives back into Aguilar's body. This time, Aguilar and Maria have located the apple in the possession of the Sultan, who is about to exchange it for his son's release. The Sultan retrieves a box and brings it to the Templar Grandmaster Thomas, who opens it to reveal an orb that glows in the sunlight. Thomas declares that all nations will bow before him, when suddenly Aguilar and Maria dive in and begin to take out the soldiers posted there. Aguilar manages to hold Thomas at knife point just as Ojeda grabs Maria, but Maria sacrifices herself for the Creed. Out of anger, Aguilar faces off against Ojeda and the two throw some heavy strikes against each other. Ojeda's strength proves to be overwhelming and soon Aguilar is left beaten and bloodied on the floor. Ojeda approaches to end him, but Aguilar uses Maria's hidden blade to impale him, then cutting him down with brutal slashes before killing the man who killed his parents. Aguilar manages to escape just as soldiers rush the room, and begins to fight his way out. He manages to escape the tunnel, only to find himself surrounded by soldiers on each side. Thomas urges him to give up, but Aguilar launches himself over the edge of the bridge and into the water, breaking the animus in the process. The arm releases itself from Callum, who is still locked into the animus mentally. Sophia and the other scientists look on eagerly, only to see Aguilar meeting with Christopher Columbus and handing over the apple, making him swear to bring it to his grave. Meanwhile, the other assassins feel the change and begin to battle with the guards to get to Callum. Meanwhile, Callum finds himself surrounded by Aguilar and other assassins from the Crete in a mental landscape and sees a face, that of his mother dressed as an assassin. Finding the apple, Alan orders his men to purge the facility and prepare his transport to Sophia's anger. Before she is dragged away, Sophia sees a female assassin staring back at her intently, looking similar to her. The other assassins are wiping out the guards and taking control of the facility, making their way to the Animus. Even Joseph manages to take out a few guards until he is killed. After seeing his mother dressed as an assassin and hearing her words, Callum finally accepts his role as an assassin. He leads the others to fight back against the Templar soldiers who are flooding the room. Callum hears Alan's helicopter about to take off and hurriedly climbs to the roof, but is forced to watch the chopper fly away. A few days later, Alan along with other members of the Templar uncover the egg from Columbus's grave, where Sophia learns that her life's work is all for nothing as her father will claim all the credit. Weeks later, the Templars are holding a gathering to unveil the egg, but the assassins have infiltrated the building and are taking up positions. Alan steps out to make his presentation and meanwhile, Sophia encounters a cloaked Callum. Callum lets her stay alive as her intentions were not all that bad, but as Alan unveils a glowing apple to a cheering audience, Callum brutally kills him before disappearing in the crowd with the apple. Sophia returns to see her father dead and declares that she will retrieve the apple, now taking control of her father's company. A distance off, Callum along with two other assassins stand overlooking the city holding the apple. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.